and welcome to the Rivers Podcast. And I am your host, Joanne, and I'm joined today from Trinidad, or all the way from Trinidad, by Carla Johnson Williams, Carla Williams Johnson. Williams Johnson, and Jamila Bannister. Ladies, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year to you guys. Oh my God. All the best for 2021.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having us on, Joanne. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak with you and your audience.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. So, ladies, it's 10:05 a.m. in Trinidad?
It is.
Just about, yes.
Yeah. Well, and 10 p.m. here in China.
Oh. Well, yeah. You're up very late, but that's good.
So the day was good today. So you're going to have a good day today, I'm telling you.
Thank you for bringing us good news from the future. We could do with that.
The future is bright. The future is bright. Okay. So ladies, before we jump into the topic, how about you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first since I'm new. All right, okay, great. So, rare birds, audience, rare birds, all the birds in the audience. I'm Jamila Bannister, and I'm a personal branding strategist and coach. Former occupant of the corporate world, now a corporate dropout. And my focus really is helping entrepreneurs who would like to, as I say, lead their businesses from the front by marketing with personal branding and thought leadership. Right, helping them with 3 big C's, which is being more confident and prepared, so that they have a strategy down and they're ready to roll out whatever efforts they have. Helping them with their content so that can be more strategic and they could use that in a way that's not just kind of all over the place, but really streamlined, as well as being better at communication from a PR point of view, as well as from a relationship building point of view. So people understand what they have to do to build those relationships, to collaborate with more people, and to really leverage the opportunities to negotiate better, because some people really aren't too good at that. Yeah. So that's what I do. I've written a book called The Brand Print. I try to put all my knowledge into a book to help people out. And over the last year, Carla and I have really started doing a lot of things together. Our podcast being the main thing we do together, but we talk all the time about other things as well. So I'm just really happy to be here to offer you some gems from my journey, offer you some gems from our journey as people working as 2 women leading business working together. And I really look forward to giving you that knowledge. Yeah.
Wonderful. Before we end, you have to tell us where to get the book, and you guys have to tell us more about the podcast and what we can listen in to the next show. Okay, wonderful. Great. And Carla, you?
I, as you know, Carla Williams Johnson. Everyone calls me Carly because my business, Carly Communications, helps people like you, business owners and entrepreneurs, increase your visibility through the creative uses of the media. And we're not just talking social media, we're talking press, radio, TV, podcast, like I'm doing right now. I have been featured almost everywhere. Someone told me I am like salt. I am in everything. Yes. I have been on Forbes. I've been in Huffington Post, Buzzfeed. I've been on TV a couple times, both locally and regionally, press, everywhere, because my goal is to not just spread the message of how marketing can help people and how you can promote yourself, but show you that it's possible. Because if little old me from Trinidad and Tobago could make it on Forbes, anybody could do it. Trust and believe. And I want to show people that using the media right now, especially now as the digital space is blowing up, using the media will really put you head and shoulders above your competition and in front of your customers sooner, quicker, and faster, because it gives you the credibility that you need, and it gives you that extra edge that everyone is looking for. People just look at you differently when you've been featured all over the place. So that's my goal, and that's what I do for people, and that's how I help people thrive.
Okay. And how did you guys meet? How did you guys connect?
Oh my God, how did we connect, Jamila?
If I was honest,
Was it a long time ago? Long time
It
ago.
was. You see, we can't even remember yesterday. So you're asking us to remember, like, what, 4 years ago, I think we were in the same group together.
yeah,
And the group was just interacting with one another. I think it was a Facebook group. We were just interacting with each other, and we just, relationships form over time. And this was just
Yeah.
one of the relationships that formed. And then we just started calling each other and girl talk. And girl talk, evolved into what you're seeing right now.
Yeah, because
yeah,
women, we really talk, and we talk about everything, right?
talk about
Yeah,
we do.
I like that your work complements each other. It really does. Like it's perfectly matched.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
A
together
lot of
you get
people think that, we're in competition with each other because a lot of the things that we do actually do overlap. But I
Yeah.
think as business owners and entrepreneurs, we need to move past this whole, oh, this is my competition, so I can't talk to them. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be able to come together and just like show the world, okay, this is how you're supposed to do things.
Well, for me, for sure, I understand where my unique selling point is, and I also understand where Carla's. I think we each understand what that is on our own and for the other person. So it's easy to see where it doesn't, even if it complements, even if it overlaps, it complements. So
right.
it's not like I will take this and you can't get this, or you can't get this because I want this, and that type of thing, So oftentimes I may ask her opinion on something and she will ask mine. And it just works, because I think we are clear and we are comfortable where we are in our space. And I think that's a good place to be, because I think some
Yeah.
people have a hard time even getting to the place where they are okay with being affiliated or working with somebody else. A lot of people tend to clash in that regard, but I'm glad I was able to find this dynamic between Carla and myself. It's a rare kind of thing for rare birds.
Rare. I love how you plug Rebirths. You're so good at what you do, both of y'all. But you know what? This is a really good segue into the topic, because I think this has a lot to do with mindset, the
Yeah.
ability to collaborate and work together and all of that stuff. So the topic of today, it's heavy. Where do we start? Mindset. How it
Yeah.
affects your brand positioning, revenue. It just affects everything. So where do we begin? And who wants to begin?
Well,
Yeah.
I think mindset is really where it starts, because I think the saying is, if you think you can, you can, and if you think you can't, then you can't. Don't ask me who said it, but I remember that's the saying. And I think people don't understand how much their mind and the way they think and even the way they speak influences everything. Just today, I got a message on social media because I had put up a post about how we need to change the mindset of how we call ourselves small businesses. There's
I
nothing
saw that.
small about what we do, right? There's nothing small about it, but it keeps us in this particular mindset of we could only do this, or we're in this box, or we can't grow, right? And that in itself, just that term alone, just that term that we use every day, can have such, I don't want to say the word disastrous effect, but it can have a negative effect on the way that you see yourself and how you allow people to see you and treat you. Right? I hate hearing the term side hustle. I hate hearing the term, oh, you're just doing a little thing on the side. Like, those things piss me off, because
Really?
when I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, this is not a little thing on the side. I am losing sleep, right? Sleep is precious to me, right? I am losing sleep. So these are the
Yeah.
things, like, people don't understand, but these are the little things that make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true, because even to record our podcast, we are up at like midnight,
Yes.
1 o'clock in the morning, just to be able to
Yeah.
get that quiet time to have a high quality recording to give to our audience, So even if
Yeah.
people aren't doing business yet or haven't fully transitioned, and they may have started their journey with putting out some piece of content or putting out some publication or some podcast, right? A lot of people have their regular 9 to 5s and they're doing a podcast, but it doesn't mean that they can produce something that is of a lesser quality than anybody else. And
Right.
understanding that internal dialogue shapes the way that we do a lot of things, because it shapes the way we see ourselves, and it almost as though it's almost as though we set the standard for ourselves before we could even manifest it, because that whatever we do in the physical world really happens in the mind before it actually happens outwardly. And that could be applied to anything. If you want to lose weight, you know you really have to mentally make that shift before you
That's
start to
true.
diet, and you have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to exercise. You know, any kind of
Yes.
thing, any kind of transformation that needs to happen, must happen internally before it happens externally.
Externally.
And that
Right.
self-talk is a major part of that. Because some people will convince themselves, some people will talk themselves out of things before they even try.
That's true.
Mm.
That's
Before they
true.
even try. And it's amazing how much of an impact that has, even if somebody else is telling them, you can do that, you can do this, and they're encouraging them. But if that dialogue is not happening internally, n- you'd find it hard pressed that person could actually be successful or go on to do great things, because they have talked themselves out of the success before it actually happens. Yeah.
Right, right. So, how do you guys define mindset in business? Is there a business mindset?
Um, I think that there is a business mindset. I mean, I have found that there are a lot of people that get into entrepreneurship and business ownership, but they still have what we would term the employee mindset. So they
Mm.
want to hustle, they want to work, they want to be in the business rather than work on the business, and really lead, as Jamila say, lead from the front, right? See the whole picture, strategize. They want to get into the nitty gritty of things. And as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, you can't afford to be bound down by the details, right? You have to be able to have that vision and have that look. And that's what I would call the business mindset. You have to be able to be 10, 15, 20 steps ahead of the people that you're trying to reach, the community that you're trying to build, because you have to lead them down a specific path. And that's the path that you're going to set for them. And you can't see it if you're head is down doing all these little tasks, which is one of the things that Jamila and I always talk about, which is you need to start to outsource things. At some point, you can't be like, this is my idea and I'm holding it close to my chest. And because if you do that, then nothing is going to be executed, right? So you get a VA, you get a whoever you might need. Actually, let me don't be specific, but whoever you might need in order to help you stay in your genius and look at the bigger picture. So that's, I would say, is the difference between like maybe a business mindset and otherwise.
Uh,
Mm.
well, I have a slightly different, along the same track, but slightly different. So for me, it comes down to the building blocks of your character, right? And I think that lays the foundation for your mindset to be either fixed or growth oriented, right? So I don't know if you guys know the book by Carol Dweck,
Yes.
mindset, where she talks about
Yep.
fixed and growth mindset. And I found this, right? I have found, even in my own journey or my own process to get where I am, I have found that there are certain character traits that make it easier for your mindset to be geared towards a certain type of discipline. Because as we all know, um, managing a business is hard. It is not
It is.
easy, right? And there are some people who are, because of their natural inclinations, or because of the type of, so maybe they have a natural inclination to be lazy. Some of all of us have that little streak in us. Sometimes we don't want to get up early, or whatever the case may be, right? But there are some people, because of the way their character is built, they do have a certain level of discipline. They don't need anybody to be behind them. I'm not saying that they may
Right.
not get like worn out, because I really see us like almost like batteries, that we have a lot of energy, and then over time we kind of wane and we need to be recharged. I think everybody is like that. But I do
Yeah.
think that there's a certain amount of um, discipline that some people have more than others. And whereas somebody needs somebody to be behind them to get something done or do something, there are people who would set their alarm and ensure that they know, okay, so today's a day I'm going to write in my diary and do this. I'm going to get this done, this done, this done, and that done. And some certain character traits make it easier for people to um, be geared towards a mindset of development. Some people, for whatever history or background they may have, or whatever experiences they may have, it sometimes it may be more difficult for those to really have a certain mindset of, well, I could do this. So if your mind has always been fed with defeatist theories or things that, I can't, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, and you've internalized those things, for you to climb out of that hole, so to speak, to say, yes, I can, becomes more difficult than somebody who has been positively reinforced. So I just think that for some people, it may not necessarily be your own fault, but at the same time it is. I don't know if you understand what I mean,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's both. It could be both. It's your conditioning, it's your environment, and then it's yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe it's a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So self-talk. How does this self-talk affect? We're looking at brand positioning, revenue. How are these all connected? The self-talk.
All right. So it's so crazy because when I think about somebody's brand, right, I think about it in a very holistic way. I think about it from the point of view of um, you opening your eyes to you being on a world stage and everything that happens in between to take you there. So from you even having the desire to be in a particular position means that you have to be telling yourself that, this is what I want. Because some people, the whole idea of, and I just kind of house it in the context of personal branding, the whole idea of you putting yourself out there in a public forum is worse than death for them, right? It's like, kill me now, don't put me out there, because I can't even like think about that, right? And the self-talk that person is having is very different to somebody who is saying, I know my dream or my destiny to be a world speaker. Like, one of the things I always said about myself is that I know I'm destined for great things. That's a conversation I've been having with myself for a while. I know I am destined for great things, and a lot of people will know my name, right? And
Yeah.
in order for that to manifest itself, it first has to manifest itself in my mind, right? In order for my brand to be one where I shape it and build it into something that is amazing, I shape it and build it, and I believe that, because I can't sell something to somebody if I don't first believe it.
Believe in it.
I Yeah, I can't convince somebody that they should pay me to help them feel better about themselves and to feel more confident, and to build strategy around the things they already have, if I don't first believe it and I don't actually do it, right? So my positioning as an expert, my positioning as a professional, my revenue as somebody who is saying, yes, I can do this. Carla's revenue as her saying that she is a media maven who can help you. Joanne's revenue as a professional in the financial world, I believe, right? Saying that she can help you with whatever she can, first has to
Yeah.
come, because I cannot trust somebody with my money. If you say you're in the financial world, I'm not going to trust you with my money if you're shaky, right? You're shaky and you're not quite sure. And when I talk to you, you're not quite sure what you're about. And the same with a media professional, and especially with a branding person. You can't trust
Mm.
me to help you get out there if I don't first talk to you. But that conversation happens at home before I even meet you. That conversation happens in the way I carry myself. That conversation happens in the way I show up on video. If I'm afraid or if I'm confident, it happens in the copy that I write. It happens in the fact that I come on to interviews and I say, yes, you can. I like people to feel pumped up and ready to take on the world when they have a conversation with
Right.
me, because it
Right.
definitely affects um, people's trust in you. They don't know, like, and trust. If you can't trust yourself to be successful at something, how then do you expect people to trust you to show
Yep.
them the way? And that really comes back to how you position yourself, and it will affect the amount of money that you can eventually make. That's what I have to say about that.
And I just want to add to what Jamila said, because I mean, even with marketing and promoting yourself, some people are deathly afraid, right? And there's a saying, fake it till you make it. And we don't mean like be fake about it, but tell yourself, in as much as you're scared, that I have to do this. This is important. This is who I have to show up for. This is why I need to do this. And you keep talking to yourself, as crazy as it might sound, and things will manifest. Perfect example is when I first started in business, I thought, this is honest to God, I was living in a country that no one knew about, speaking in a way that people wouldn't understand. I look different, I sound different, people wouldn't understand me, right? And that was a serious mental block that I had to work on, because I can't grow Carly Communications globally if I am afraid to step out of this little box that I put myself in, this mental box, right? But this box was real to me. It was a real box, right? As real as anything. And I had to talk to myself. And I had to say, no, people want to hear what I have to say. People are interested. And the most amazing thing happened. The same things that I thought people would not like me for is what they love me for. They love our accent. They love our culture. They love to hear me talk about music and our food and those types of things. These are the things that I was hiding, right? Lo and behold, a couple months later, I'm getting a phone call. Oh, we want to feature you as the top 99 limit breaking female founders of, I think it was 2019 or something like that. I can't even remember right now. Huffington Post Thrive Global, right? There was no way, if you had asked me 4 years ago if that was going to happen, that I would be like, yeah, for sure. No, because I was busy hiding. So I think mindset also comes from, we need to convince ourselves, even if we don't believe it, we need to make sure and tell ourselves these lies that we've been telling ourselves, these things are not true. And we need to figure out how to get to the root of these lies and uproot these lies and replace them with the truth. And even if that means that we have to talk to ourselves every day and say, this is not true. I don't know where you got this from. This is not true. You are destined for greatness. You are destined for, as Jamila said, global fame. You are destined for all of these things. Because when you make those statements, I am a firm believer in the universe, right? When you make those types of statements, the universe opens up. And all of a sudden, you just get all these opportunities, right? You get to meet all these fabulous people. You get to collaborate with all these different things, and things just start to open up. From the time you make up your mind, everything opens up for you. So mindset really comes from internal, but sometimes you even have to convince your internal that you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You said that, Carla, you said that we have to uproot this. Both, and Jamila, you said something along those lines too. So I want to talk a little bit about culture, because I think that's a big part of the mindset and the self-talk. Like, here we are, 3 Caribbean women, woo, okay, on this on this podcast, right? Now, so we know Caribbean culture. Now, so we know our culture, so obviously we can speak well to that. But our culture is also there's similar threads in other cultures in, like, developing countries and in the United States, North America, wherever. What do you guys think is the cultural aspect of this? I mean, I have my own views, but I'd love to hear yours. What do you think culture has to do with this? Is culture the problem, or is culture a part of the problem? Maybe we can start there.
Oh, that's a very good question.
That's a good question.
You know what,
yes!
right? Last season on our podcast, we did an episode that was entitled Island Mindset. And it spoke to persons who may live in smaller countries, not necessarily in the Caribbean only, because we have smaller countries in different parts of the world, feeling as though they are not good enough, or they don't belong, or they can't possibly compete on the world stage, right? For whatever reason that is. Perhaps they feel as though, or I should say we feel as though we may not have enough experience, or we may not be exposed enough. And I think culturally, a lot of us, and let me speak to the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, and perhaps the Caribbean to some extent. I don't think we have been trained to be very bold and proud with the things that we can do. I think we have been trained to be more quiet, and because we interpret speaking about ourselves and speaking to ourselves. And if I tell somebody I'm destined for greatness, they wouldn't be like, wow. They'd be like, who she thinks she is, And I think it's more common than not to find that. And I think from a cultural point of view, on a wide scale, and I also think from a cultural point of view, based on where you find yourself in terms of the company that you are in. So I think it happens at two layers. So in more developed nations, right? I observe the way even that they raise their children, even the way they encourage them to be expressive and to be open and to say what they feel. So I'll give you a quick a story. Like my brother was telling me about my niece, and he's like, sometimes she says things that has adults kind of shocked, but he's raising her to be very expressive, so like he would say things like, she'd be playing with her friends and she would say things like, no, she can't spend the money, she has to save her money to invest for the future and that kind of thing. And adults will be wondering, what is she talking about, but he has raised her to kind of respond to people in a certain type of way that seems very adult, and that is not the norm with a lot of Caribbean cultures. If she was to be in a US environment, however, or probably in Britain or some other metropole where they raise their kids to be, and I told my mother this, they raise their kids to be open and expressive, but I find often in Caribbean cultures we raise our kids to be quiet and then wonder why as adults they don't speak, right? So you want them to, nobody's talking to you, adults are talking now, go inside, nobody's talking to you, this and that or whatever, and we kind of shut them up. This is what I've, right? Yeah, know your place. Yeah, kind of like that, right? And then when as adults, when they don't express themselves, we kind of wonder like, why? Well, talk to this one now, or talk to that one, or whatever the case may be. So I think culturally, and I also think as we get older and we interact with each other, then we kind of see somebody talking about themselves and feeling confident as almost a sign of being boastful. It's like socially unacceptable, it's socially weird, and then that gives rise to feelings of, well, could I actually do this? Could I actually compete on the world stage? Could I actually be in competition with somebody from the UK or the US or whatever the case may be? But the interesting thing is that we pay all of our money to go to school abroad, right? And we compete with these same people in university classrooms, or we compete with these same people in places like that, and we don't question our worth then. But when it comes to business, sometimes we do that, and I think that's something to keep in mind for sure. And I definitely think culture has a big part to play in that. So, Carla, I don't know what your thoughts are.
I have a slightly different take on things,
right?
And I think that's because of my background in the media.
Yes,
I think it's because of my background in the media. I feel like the media shapes what we are supposed to think and act and do. So if you look at Caribbean, West Indian, even Trini culture, the things that are showcased are, we love to party, we love to go out, we love to fest, we love to eat, right? But there are business owners that, they are not of that life. And when I mean, like, that's not their whole life. They're very diligent. Like Jamila, for example, right? And myself, right? We like to lime, as we say in Trinidad, we like to lime, but business is business. And if we have things to do, then the lineman may have to wait, right, till the following week. And there are more people like us, but the media doesn't highlight those people because the Caribbean people are not supposed to be known for things like that. The Caribbean people are supposed to be known for partying, liming, fetting, going out, having a good time, that sort of thing. However, let Jane or Joe, right, Bakersfield, have a business, that is what they're going to highlight across there, because that's what is supposed to be. They are supposed to have their own house. They're supposed to have their own business. They're supposed to have the 2.5 children with the picket fence, right? And that makes the media creates, I want to choose my words properly, right? But the media creates what we think is acceptable. So we come out saying, well, Trini people this way, and Trini people, well, we say Trinidadians is Trinidadians, not realizing that there probably are a lot more serious-minded business owners than there are Trinidadians out there. But that's what the media feeds us. And I think the media has a lot to do with how we think and how we act and the culture, which is why I love to use the media. I always say you have to use the media to your advantage, because once the media says it, it is what it is. Once the media says, okay, this is a business owner, she's from Trinidad and Tobago, she's doing great things, you need to listen to her. all of a sudden the conversation will change. All of a sudden it's acceptable now for an African or a black woman to own a business. And that's what we kind of need to do. So although I do agree culture has a lot to play in it, the media feeds into that culture. So we now have to change the way we do things. We have to change the way we speak. We have to change the way what is put out there. We have to change all of these things, and then eventually things will change over time. That's what I think.
Yeah. No, but I think I think what both of you guys have said are equally important and equally a part of it, because definitely it's the way you're raised and the culture, and it's also the media. But then I think many of us buy into whatever we're told, whether that's coming from your family, environment, your friends, or the media. We buy into it, we believe it, and then we perpetuate it, right?
But I think the reason we buy into it is because we've been fed it for so long, right? We've been fed it all over. Like a perfect example, when I first got into advertising, right? I don't know where I got this, but I thought advertising was a white man's world. I literally believed that. And then I got into advertising, and guess what I saw? Right? And I saw that because it was in my mind, and it was what was fed to me over time. Now it's not true, right? And all these years later, I can say it's not true. I've been in the industry 17 years. I can say it's not true. But when I first started, that's what I saw. And I saw it because that was what was fed to me over and over again, even though it was not entirely true. So again, I understand what you're saying, Joanne. I really do. But if we've been told enough things for as long as we have, we will believe it. We
Yeah.
will believe it.
Well, that's interesting, because I think now that presents an opportunity for us to shift the culture, because
Yeah, definitely.
we now have access to media in a way that wasn't available to us 20 years ago, right? So we don't have to wait for mass media to tell us what to think. We can think what we want,
Right.
and we can rival that, and we can give people opportunities to tune in to small pockets or small communities where they're like, okay, these are the people that obviously think like me. These are the people that obviously are on the same path as me, and I'm going to spend time here. And in so doing, then you'd find that your mindset becomes more clear, it becomes stronger, it becomes definitely more focused. And as a result, the self talk becomes more clear, the self talk
Yeah.
becomes more focused, the self talk becomes more positive, and then you'd find yourself on a path where it becomes less difficult or less insurmountable to actually pursue the things you want, actually go after the things you want. So, as much as media has yes, set the agenda for the way we think for a long time, I think because of the age that we're in terms of being exposed to digital tools and things like podcasts just like these, web shows, magazines, or whatever. We don't have to wait on anybody's permission to hear something, or wait for the 6 o'clock news, or wait for
For
CNN.
whatever,
Listen,
yeah.
I was
Or
telling my mother the
BBC.
other day, or BBC. I was telling my mother recently that I can't think of, there are certain places in the world that anytime I hear them, I think of them as war-torn places. Mogadishu, Bosnia. And that was because of years of listening to CNN, and they always
Yeah.
reported on these places as war-torn places, right? But these places are
Absolutely.
cities where people live every day, doing their thing, going to the market, going to school, going to work, or whatever the case may be. It's not like it's a place full of rubble where there's only war. So we have an opportunity to reshape the media landscape, and and so doing, help reshape people's minds and reshape the self-talk that they eventually tell themselves. So
Agreed.
that's
Totally
my take.
agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can get into the solutions part. And you mentioned it, reshaping. So how do we do that? If I'm in business or I'm just starting out in business and I'm affected by the culture, my upbringing, the media, all the things you both have just mentioned, how do I change that? I know I want this. Deep inside, I have a vision for myself. Maybe I'm not confident enough to say it out loud, but it's in there someplace. And I want to do something. So how do I change that? What do I need to do? Like, are there steps, or what do I need to do?
Well, I would say for sure, if you really do believe it and it's really there, then,
Mm,
make up your mind to educate yourself. As Jamila said, go out there, see what's happening. collaborate and connect with like-minded people. They're out there, they exist, right? Have a small community. That's how Jamila and I started. Literally phone call, emails, then phone calls. Now we have a podcast, right? Because we found each other. We have the same values. We're very much in alignment about what we want, the direction that we're heading in, what we want for ourselves, for our family, for our business. So I think once you make up your mind, as I mentioned before, the universe will create situations where you need to take advantage of. And one of the main things that has helped me is definitely connecting with like-minded people, and also journaling. Like that, I swear to God, like journaling for me, because what happens when you journal is like everything that is in here just comes out. And you'd be amazed at the kind of nonsense that you would write, right? But it comes out, right? It comes out, and it kind of makes you realize that you have all these things in your mind that aren't true. So now you can start to put things in place to replace these things that aren't true with the truth. I can do this. I do belong in business. I am supposed to be here. People need to make space for me. I actually was telling somebody that you don't need to fit in. People need to make space for you, right? Because you're a leader in your own industry, you're a leader in your own right. You don't have to ask permission, especially as women entrepreneurs. For far too long, we've been told, this is not for you. You shouldn't do that. You should be home with your children and all of those things. When I first started my business, and when I was in corporate and I had my daughter used to go to daycare and I was working. Now that I have my own business and I have my son, when my son was born, people were like, oh, you're so lucky. You can be home minding him and have your business. Now all those people are crying because of COVID, because they realize it's not that simple and it's not that easy, right?
Yeah.
You have to put things in place and you have to sacrifice. And it's not a matter of you're doing a side hustle or you're doing a little thing on the side. It all comes down to how you want to show yourself and how you want to build your business.
Yeah. And I'd add to that as well, in terms of rebuilding yourself and really getting yourself to a space where you change the narrative, you change the internal narrative. It means that to some extent you're going to have to change the external environment, because you'd find that we are products of the environments that we are in. So if that means that you, as to further endorse what you just said, Carla, it means that finding a community of like-minded people, and that has become easy now because of social media, right? Go online, look for a group that like what you like, and connect with that group. Find yourself in there, check in with the people in there, right? Get yourself a routine. Start doing things. Build that discipline into your life. Wake up at 5 o'clock or whatever time in the morning. Because honestly, there's nothing that beats waking up early. I am a self-professed night owl, but I can tell you, waking up early definitely has its benefits, right? And going to sleep at a certain hour, so changing your physical routine and feeding yourself good food. And these things may sound simple or innocuous, but they really have a big impact on your whole mental, your state of mental health. Add a little bit of motion, exercise in your day, whatever that is for you. If you like to walk, if you like to hike, if you like to do something else, change your routine and tell yourself that you're going to be doing something every day, because the change in you happens one day at a time. It's very incremental. It's not like you're going to be, they say you eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's literally what you're going to have to be doing. I'd also encourage people to find somebody that they could work with. Find yourself a mentor. Get somebody to help you. If you feel as though you are you're in a situation where it may be difficult for you to wade through on your own, even if that mentor isn't somebody who is talking to you every day, perhaps you can look for somebody, some sort of business leader that you admire, and plug into the things that they put out. Look, subscribe to their YouTube channel, buy their books, read the things that they have, find a community based around that, and really start to put yourself in the place where those people are. Flush your social media from trash. Flush your media from trash. Watch what you consume, right? You don't
social media as well as email. I have to endorse.
Yeah, unsubscribe from all the trash that you've been getting in your inbox and reshape that and start to feed. It's like feeding yourself good mental food. Just like you feed yourself good physical food, feed yourself good mental food and get yourself on a diet of things to help build you, things to help encourage you, and things to allow you to start to see the same things like Carla said, the same things that you saw as handicaps. You'd realize those are the things that make you unique and different, and those are the
Yeah.
things you really have to take and leverage. So all the experiences that you have that sucked, that were terrible for you,
Yeah.
and you felt
Somebody is
like
going to be inspired by that.
exactly all of these things that you thought were like, I can't believe this happened to me, and you were crying about it. Yeah, those tears now serve as fertilizer for the things that you want to grow. So always think
Right.
I always think of that there's a blessing inside of things that may not necessarily be going your way. There's always something to learn, and there's always
Mm,
something that you could take away, because I could guarantee that you are not the only person experiencing whatever you're going through now. There is always somebody else, right? So
definitely.
I'd say the solution really lies in um, see, changing your perspective. And sometimes it's almost like you're standing on top of a mountain, and you just want to be able to see something from a different angle. All you have to do is just walk to your left or walk to your right, and your perspective changes immensely. And that's what we have to um, leave here and go and live on the other side of the world or whatever. No, sometimes it just literally requires you to just take a step to the left, and you realize that your whole
Mhm.
perspective can change. And the thing that you
Yes,
thought you were
definitely.
seeing in a particular way, all of a sudden you're seeing it
Somewhere different.
in
Yeah.
a whole new light, and it has now turned into, as opposed to ammunition against you, is now turned into your sword and shield. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
And I just want to
That's how
add
I
to
say you
what
could change
Jamila
it.
said because she brought up some really good points. But I just want to say to everyone that's listening, you can distance yourself from people as well, whether they're your family or your friends, and be okay
Yeah.
with it. You don't have to feel obligated if this person is not feeding you mentally or not giving you the positivity that you need. You can distance yourself. I'm not saying you need to cut them off, but just know the type of relationship that you're going to have with this person. You know, you can't speak business with this person. This person is more of a quote unquote lineman partner, and that's fine and that's good. But be sure to define your relationships and just distance yourself without judgment and without malice. Just distance yourself from people who are no longer serving the greater purpose that you have in store for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, the last point I want to focus on. Wow, time is flying by,
It
ladies.
is
Is
though.
is money? Because we are going to discuss revenue. That's a
Right.
Yeah.
point to discuss. So, how does this all affect your revenue?
I think people also need to have to adjust, their mindset around money. How much money you want to make, how you price your products, how you want to be seen, right? We have a culture in Trinidad of, okay, we need to come in at the lower price, right? This person has this price here, we need to come in lower, right? That's not necessarily true because coming in lower really devalues the industry, devalues your product, and people don't really want stuff based on price. They want stuff based on the value that you're going to give to them. So I think we need to adjust our mindset around how much money we really want to make, how much money we want to charge. If like we have this negative connotation around the word rich, we don't like rich people. Rich people are this. Rich people, like, there's a
I
negative
like them.
thing. I think they're
Mm.
fabulous, but you
Mhm.
can't hate rich people and want to be rich. It's not, the universe is confused. It doesn't know what to do, right?
Mm.
You don't like rich people, but you wanna make money. So I mean, it has to connect somewhere, right? So you have to give up this. I am in love with the Kardashians. I think they're fabulous business people, and I want to live my life like that, right?
They're very good at
They're
branding
very
themselves.
good. Branding, marketing, they make it look so easy, and that's my goal. That's my goal, right? I have a pool in the backyard. I'm gonna sit down in the pool for a little bit and just soak in the life, right? But my point is, you can't hate people for being rich if you want to be rich. You can't hate people for having money if you want to have money. So you need to change your mindset around money in order to make the money that you really want and really think that you deserve.
Yeah, and I
Mm.
also think that so one of my mentors, not one of my mentors, my mentor, we always talk about people who are nickel and dime people and people who are trying to nickel and dime you. And these
Mhm.
are people who essentially operate in a nickel and dime space. And when you you doubt yourself, or when you don't have a clear sense of who you are, what value you can bring to the table, and what your brand is, these are the type of people they attract. Nickel and dime people, right? And then
Mm.
you find yourself putting out $1,000 effort, but still collecting nickels
Nickel
and
one.
dimes, right? So
Wow.
it's really it has really allowed me, and even in and Carla, we've had this conversation up until up as recently as last week or this week or whenever we would have
This
spoken.
week, actually.
Yeah, when we talked about the types of people we want to attract into our space, the types of clients, the types of um, business owners that we want to help, because they are business owners who are ready and understand what is required in order for them in order for them to advance where they are, so that they know you are the type of person that they want to work with, right? And then there are business owners who are not clear and don't know. And oftentimes, if you are the type of person, or you are somebody who is unclear or doesn't know, you're not clear about your brand, you're not 100% convinced that you can help people with this thing or that thing or the other thing, and that affects your messaging overall. So when you put out messaging, it's almost as though you don't really want to say, I can do this. And I recognize that sometimes people don't want to commit to saying, I can do this or that or the other, because if they can't deliver, then what does that say about them? They're almost afraid
Mm.
to declare that they can do certain things. So they are ambiguous with their brand on purpose, simply because they want to be able to have the escape route to say, well, that's not what I said you could get, right? Because they don't even believe that they could deliver the thing in the first place, right? So you then attract nickel and dime people, and you
People.
recognize that if you don't have clarity on who you are, how you bring value to the table, what that brand is defined as, and how you position yourself in the marketplace, you wouldn't be able to attract the type of customers you have, or you would attract the type of customers where you always say, why do people come in and then they can never afford me, or they can never pay, or it's always a problem when it comes to getting payment, or people feel I will do this for free. Yeah, but you have to go back and check, um am I actually being clear with the type of service I offer? Am I being clear with the type of value I'm bringing to the table? Am I actually being clear with the type of people that I want? And I want to emphasize that even when we have the whole so-called client avatar or whatever, that takes a bit of time to refine. You're not going to know who that person
Yeah.
is immediately upon getting into a business, especially if the business is new to you. You're going to have to take some time to refine that. So there is going to be a period of time where you may be doing one thing, and then that eventually evolves into other things, right? Which is fine. So
Yeah.
you'd find that sometimes your messaging may be adjusted accordingly. But you can't be in business 3 to 5 years and you still struggling. Why people don't want to pay me, and why this and why the other? It has something to do with the way you position your brand, and the kind of messaging that you put out there. And because and I'll tell you this, for me, for example, in the earlies, a lot of people came to me for graphic work when I talk about branding. I'm like, what? I can't do that, right? And they said, well, you into branding, right? And then I recognize, okay, there's a deficiency in my messaging. I need to be crystal clear with personal branding, and these are the things that I can help you with. Confidence building, clarity in communication. I can't help you with designing a logo. I'm not
Mm.
skilled like that, right? That's somebody else. That's not the type of branding I do, right? So I
Right.
realized, okay, Jamila, something is not hitting right here. You need to go back and be clear about this. But it took me time to come to get to that place, right? So I don't want people to feel as though, well, you know, there's a character in Sesame Street that says, "I'll never get it, never." And he's, with I don't want you to feel like that guy. Understand, evolution is part of the journey. You will
It is.
evolve into the person that you want to be, right? However, I'd say this: if you start off in a place where you take our advice in terms of what we just said, in terms of like getting a mentor, getting people who can connecting with a community of people who are doing the same thing like you can really learn a lot from those people, and your pathway will be clear much faster than somebody trying to do it on your own and figure it all out from scratch, because I can guarantee you anything that you do now, somebody has already done it, right? There's
Yeah.
plenty of knowledge in the world for you to take advantage of. So
Yeah.
know that your revenue is dictated by whether or not you have clarity in your messaging. You know what you're going to help people with. People understand your position. When they see you, I like people to see me and say, well, I know how to put my money aside when I have to hire her. That's okay. That's a great thing for people to say, right?
That's
Don't feel
good,
as though,
right?
well, you're out of reach. No, that's great, you know. People will be like, you know, how much, you know, and they're kind of bracing themselves as though they're gonna get, you know, they're gonna get hit with something, you know, say how much it is
Yeah.
or whatever. And but
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to get to a place where you attract people who say, well, tell me what it is, let me write you a check right now. You know, you want to
Mhm.
be able to get that. So those two things have to connect. Your positioning and the types of clients that you serve have to connect with each other. And when you find there's a disconnect between those two, that's where you find that there's problems in you getting the revenue that you want. So the positioning of the brand does a lot to attract the type of client that you're looking for. So
Yeah.
Right.
that's how those two connect. And that's how, and this is me living it and telling you, yes, don't be afraid to say you need to have $2,000, $10,000 to work with me. That is what it is. You're going to attract the people that you want. Forget about the people that you don't attract because they
Mm.
can't afford you anyway. Focus on the people that you want to attract.
And
You know what I mean?
I think you
And
have to
let's
be
take it from there.
okay too. I feel like people are afraid of receiving money as well. You have to be okay. If you're charging $20,000 and someone says, take this $20,000, be okay to receive it. Don't be like, oh my God, I can't believe this person actually gave me this money. What am I supposed to do with it? And then you have all of these things coming into your head. Be okay. I remember the first time somebody handed me like a large sum of money and I was like, am I ready for this? Is this actually happening? Is this real? Right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's real. Do what you said. This person believes in you. Do what you said that you're going to do. And he has been my client ever since for maybe like 2 or 3 years now because we connect and he tells everyone how fabulous I am. That's what you want, right? You don't want this negative relationship with money. You want a positive relationship with money. There's actually a book that I have here. Let me see if I can find it. This book. This actually helped a lot. It's Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. This book is very, very good in helping you shape the way you think about money, the way you interact with money, the way you price your stuff, because you have to be okay with money. Money is good. People say money is evil. It's not, right? The love of money is evil, but it's money itself is not evil. And you need money to do what you need to do. Even if you're a charity or a non-profit, you need money to do what you have to do to help other people. So you have to be okay with collecting that $100,000 check because somebody believes in you enough to hand it to you. You have to believe yourself enough to do what you have to do.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Ladies, we have some questions. Are you guys happy to answer questions?
Yes.
Yes. I love questions.
Okay. Okay, so we've got one from Jolene. By the way, Jolene says that she finds the discussion very helpful and it's exactly what she needs at this point. So here's Jolene's question. Hi everyone, as it relates to what Carla said about putting a price to a product, how do we put a price on a quality product in light of economic challenges being faced during this COVID time without going too low on your price? That's a really good question.
So this
It's a
is
really good
my
one.
take.
Thank you, Jolene.
This is my take on the economic crisis. And thank you, Jolene, for your question. While I do understand that the market landscape has changed and it has shifted, the right people will find you if this is the price that you're set and this is what the market could bear. So, for example, if you have a product and the market price is $1, you can't charge $10 because the market price is $1. Now, if you have a premium and you want to charge $1.50 or $2, somebody will buy it if you market and position yourself properly. Somebody will buy it. So what you need to figure out is, does the market want what I have? Can the market bear what I have? What is the going price on the market right now? What is the going price? Not what people are willing to buy it for, but what is the going price? And then you position your product or service to suit. People will buy. We just finished the Christmas season and people said, oh, Trinis don't have money. We had traffic every single day for 2 weeks, bumper to bumper, because people were buying things, right? People were shopping as normal. So granted, I know things are not as they were maybe a couple months ago or a couple years ago, but if you position yourself right, and the market is ready for you, people will buy from you once you set your price.
Okay. Thank you, Carla. Do you want to add anything, Jamila?
Yeah, well, this is a really interesting question because it seems to speak to what the person deems valuable or what they think their audience deems valuable versus not even versus, but in addition, and they're also considering what price people should pay, right? Now, this person mentioned Jolene. Hi, Jolene. You mentioned in the face of COVID times.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for us to understand that as professionals, that we should not be compromising our products, or we shouldn't be compromising on our price. I really don't believe in that. I don't believe, because I don't think that the value deliver becomes less because of a crisis. I don't think so. I think you deliver the same value, crisis or not, extenuating circumstance or not. And COVID is just what we're dealing with right now. Granted that it is being dealt with on a global scale, but if it's not COVID, it's going to be something, right? And what you don't want people to do is you don't want people to quote unquote nickel and dime you based on some external circumstance, because there will always be an issue. If you want to prepare yourself and offer people an option that may not necessarily be as high priced, maybe you could have another type of product that could give them some support and help that doesn't mean you compromising the value of what you have or your signature offer, whatever the case may be, right? And this is especially for people who are offering service driven products, because as much as I can't repossess knowledge, right? I can't say, hey, give me back that knowledge I gave you this morning. I can't do that, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it really is important that you understand that you can in fact support people. If people cannot afford certain things right now, create some options where they could probably get some help. That doesn't mean that you have to put yourself out in a way that, because when you put yourself out for less, right, do your bills disappear? Do your needs disappear? No, they don't. You still have to be fulfilled in a particular way. Therefore, giving, discounting or going less, or putting a price on a product when it comes to the pandemic or any other situation is you kind of being controlled by the market. Your product needs to be controlled by the value it brings to the table.
Yeah.
So what you can do is perhaps you can, and you know what, Carla is a really good example of that. When the pandemic came, you know what she did? She switched to doing more PR, right, as opposed to more hardcore marketing, advertising. Because you know what the product meant. It doesn't mean that she was going to discount or change the product that she had with marketing. It just meant that she brought something to the table that was more relevant at that time. And sometimes we have to think about how do we pivot in that way without compromising our brand position and without compromising our needs. So it could mean that we create a product that people could buy and download and they could help themselves as opposed to buying into our time, because our time doesn't lose value because of some external circumstance. That's not what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Agreed.
And I think it's important for you to train your audience in that mindset as well, so that they understand what to expect from you, and they don't expect, well, no, she will probably have to give me a $10 off. We don't want a
No.
nickel and dime audience, and you shouldn't try to build a nickel and dime audience. You should build an audience that loves you because you always give them something juicy and valuable and something that is super useful for them, pandemic or not.
Right.
That's what I would
Yeah.
say.
Agreed.
I love that. Awesome. Good.
I hope we were
Jolene.
able to help, Jolene.
Yes, Jolene is very happy. And then the second question is from Abby. So Abby says, what advice would you give small businesses? Oh my gosh, Carla, I'm sorry. I know you don't like the word.
Yeah, it's fine.
Small businesses in the Caribbean with regards to their marketing and communication to reach other islands. Okay, so inter-Caribbean sort of marketing, fine. And I guess I am thinking along the lines of how to resonate with different countries who may have different cultures, because as we know, the Caribbean is not a monolith. And it's good for you to know Abby is in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh.
Abby, don't be sorry about small business. We're just teasing Carla. We're just teasing Carla. She said sorry. Yeah, so how should Abby go about addressing that?
I think the main thing is to adjust your message to suit a global audience. So one of the things that Jamila and I learned very early is local twang when we do our podcast is not applicable. Using words like lemon, saying things like doubles. Like, we have to understand that our global audience has no idea what it is that we're talking about, right? So you
Right.
have to adjust your language to suit a global audience. You also have to adjust your messaging. If you are speaking to a global audience about what it is that you're doing, every single thing has to have that global look and feel and sound, right? To let people know that you are willing to serve from wherever. And you need to put the systems in place, obviously, to serve those people. So you can't be promoting, let's say, delivery, and you could only deliver to local people, right? That's not going to make sense, right? So you need to adjust put all your systems, whatever has to happen in the back end to attract the global audience and to make the global audience understand that you can serve them. And last but not least, show up. Show up everywhere, right? As I said before, somebody said I was like salt. You need to be like salt. You need to be in everything, right? Where is your audience? What do they resonate with? What media do they consume? What are they doing? And just show up there. It could look like a podcast, a TV interview, a radio interview. It could look like a press interview. It could look like doing a live on social media. Wherever they are, wherever you know they are, you just need to show up. And that might look like a little bit of research on your part, right? That might look like connecting with someone. If you want to be in the US, connecting with somebody in the US and say, hey, what's going on across there? I heard Donald Trump is not leaving. What's going on? How is everyone feeling? And getting that kind of ground information so that you can now position yourself. Because research never ends, right? Research is always ongoing, right? So that might look like you're doing a bit of research so you would know what to do. But definitely show up. Regardless, show up. And as time goes, you will refine your message. You will refine, you will meet more people and things will change. But you just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Remember, Abby in particular is focusing on Caribbean. So, like for example, she's in Saint Kitts and she wants to reach Trinidadians, Jamaicans, Haitians, all the which is probably more challenging, right, than going global.
Not necessarily. No? I mean, it's the global audience is a little bit different with the way they do things, but it comes down to the same thing. Just put yourself out there. There's TV stations, radio stations, there's social media. Just show up. We Caribbean people love Facebook for some reason. Like, Facebook is our second home, right? Show up on Facebook, do a live, right? What do Caribbean people want? What do they want to hear? Right now, there's a pain in my soul because there's no carnival. Maybe that is a pain point that you could relate to based on your product or service, and you're going to connect with me right there and then, right? Depending on whatever the product or service may be. But you still have to show up.
Okay.
Well, and to add to what Carla said, for me, what has worked well is simply building relationships, looking and connecting with people. We like to be on social media, reach out and talk to somebody. So, like, I have increased my Caribbean connections on LinkedIn a lot just by connecting with people, talking with them, introducing myself to them. And if I saw, like, recently I connected with a guy from Jamaica, and it was really funny how we connected. He had a summit. Hi, Francis, if you're listening to this podcast. He had a summit. I had a summit. We were both Caribbean people. It was new for the region. And I saw his thing and I just connected with him. And I said, listen, I saw that you had this event. And I know that this is not something that I see a lot in the Caribbean, and I just wanted to know what your experience was like. And that led to a very long discussion. And now we are like, we should probably do something together. So now I have an opportunity to be exposed to his audience, and he probably will have an opportunity to be exposed to mine. It doesn't mean that, and I also think it's important, Abby, to know that everything probably would not happen immediately. At least this is the pathway that I talk about when it comes to branding. Know that relationship will take a little time to build. And when I say I don't necessarily mean it takes years. It could mean a couple months for the right opportunity to come along for you. But you would be amazed at how things develop once you start to build those relationships and start to connect with people literally one by one. You see somebody in Trinidad doing something that you like, reach out to them, talk to them, connect with them. LinkedIn is a place where we all are, and more Caribbean people are showing up on LinkedIn. I find there's this young lady from Grenada who has been following me and supporting me for a long time, and that has been really great. And you'll find that the more you put yourself out there to connect with people from the region, whether it's St. Lucia, Jamaica, St. Kitts, Grenada, St. Vincent, wherever they are, the more opportunities present themselves. And also use collaboration as a way to get yourself
Definitely.
to get your business seen by other Caribbean businesses. Reach out and collaborate with somebody from another country. Hey, you want to talk to somebody from
Yep.
Trinidad? See if you can get onto their podcast. Invite them onto yours. You have something going on. You want to put out a YouTube video and you find somebody with a complimentary service. Look for somebody from the region so that you two could do something together. Right. So you really have to think of clever ways just to be able to start the conversation, because you can't really market and put the messaging, as Carla said, you can't put the message out there if you're not really sure where to go. If you're venturing into a new market, it's always good to have somebody who's on the ground, so to speak, give you a sense of what's happening. And you can achieve that by building relationships strategically. Connect. This is what social media is here for. Connect with people on
Yeah.
Instagram, connect with people on LinkedIn, connect with people on Facebook. Start the conversation. Be genuine about it. Don't try to, overrun them with, what you want. Just bring some value to the table. Be cool, be chill, and then take it from there. Propose the
Yes,
opportunity.
yes. Connect, collaborate, then the growth comes. Perfect,
Yeah,
perfect, perfect.
Yes.
definitely.
Now, Jolene wants to know, ladies, and this is a great way to wrap up as well. And Abby, I hope that was all helpful. Yeah, she said she it's very helpful, good food for thought. How can they connect with you guys? I mean, we've got the Rarebird Slack, that's one thing, but I mean, individually, if Jolene wanted to reach out to you, Carla specifically, or you, Jamila, or anybody else, Abby, or anybody else who's going to listen to this, how can they find you? Do you have like a Facebook group or a support group or something that they can reach out to you for like additional support? Community.
Well, for me, you can definitely catch me on social media. I am at Carly Communications on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I am also, my website is also www.carlimedia.com, and I am offering free consultations to all business owners and entrepreneurs who are looking to build their business and put these systems and things in place so that they can build their brand from 2021 move forward. And once you go to my website, you just click to the top. There's a chat for free section. You just click the link and fill out the application, and you can book your consultation there, free consultation. Other than that, we have our podcast, Shut Up and Listen, which launches season 2, launches Wednesday, I believe, and it's every Wednesday. We have a Facebook page now, right? Shut Up and Listen has literally took on a life of its own.
Nice.
It's called Shut Up and Listen, the podcast on Facebook. So you can get all the information there, all the free stuff, all the advice. Right? We're very real. This is how Jamila and I are like all the time. Like we're very real like this, and we tell it as it is. So if that resonates with you, be sure to follow and like the page and get all your information there.
Yes. Well, if you want to connect with myself, Jamila Bannister, individually, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I spend a lot of my time. Jamila Bannister. And of course, the Shut Up and Listen page. Also, I do have a free masterclass on my website at jbannisterbranding.com, where I teach you 6 ways to build your personal brand and build influence online. And you could check that out. And if you like it, hey, we could always book a consultation to figure out where you can go next to really take your business to the next level. So connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me I am on Instagram, but check me out on LinkedIn. That's where you would find me more than likely. I also have a magazine called Personality, which is a magazine I share the stories of brave people who decided to leave their jobs and build their business around themselves, their brand, and their passion. So you could check that magazine out as well. We give advice on tools, tips, tricks that you could use, apps, and a bunch of different things that you could use to help push your brand more, get that visibility, and basically make your online life easier. And we also have a few stories from people. Carla is actually featured in one of the issues.
I have literally been everywhere, people. Literally been everywhere.
Both of you ladies are everywhere, but that's amazing, Amazing.
Yeah.
Jolene has seen the magazine. Jolene has
Oh,
seen
great.
the magazine.
Oh, yeah, she
Yeah.
did? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah. So, and you can subscribe to the mailing list of our magazine as well, so you can keep getting it. Going to send it straight to your inbox every month. The new one is going to be out on
Wonderful.
the 11th of January. Yeah, so yes, that is where you can find us.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, this has been brilliant. It's January 1st, 2021. Jamila has completed her 1 of 100 media appearances. Listen,
Yeah,
that is a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, targeted goal. Wow. Talk
Yes.
about goals.
yes,
That's
Yes.
amazing. Like you
yeah,
have defined it to the T. No, that's impressive. That's an amazing way. And you
yeah.
start today. Today is the first, right?
Yes,
Perfect way to
yes.
start.
So
Perfect.
I love the fact that I can start today. I'm like, this sets the tone for the rest of the year, and I'm gonna get my community involved. So listen to me, wonderful people. Listen to this podcast. If you know there's an audience that would love to get some help with their personal branding, or they just want to get some of this magic, let me know so I can see if I can get on to that podcast and just really talk to. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible and really get
Yeah.
and really get talk to more people and really expand this year. So yeah, the journey to 100 has started.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Carla, I guess we're gonna see more of you like salt everywhere.
Oh my God, yes. That is the goal, right?
Yeah.
That is the goal. I don't have it as specific as Jamila, but I do have some publications that I know for a fact that I don't want to say it, but I have some publications that I am aiming to get into this year. I mean, I've been in Forbes, right? So there are a
Nice.
couple other big names that I want to get involved in this year for sure, for sure. So I'm putting things in place for that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This has been
Thank
great. This has
you.
been really,
Yes.
really great. And I wish you guys all the success in 2021. People need to know you guys are always on LinkedIn every day.
Yeah,
Every
we
day.
are.
So even just go on LinkedIn and find your names. I mean, you guys are very active. Jamila,
Yeah.
I love your storytelling, how you put your messages together on your post, and it's so engaging and everybody responds and you respond to everybody. So if people really want to find you, they can. They really can.
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
everywhere.
Check me out, guys.
I
We
mean,
are.
yeah, both of you are everywhere. So thank you so much, ladies, and thank you, Jolene and Abby, for the questions.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully, you guys will log back in next month for the other live. So until next time, bye for now.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.